A baby elephant did something beautiful to the woman who saved his life several years ago. This is the heartwarming story. Nobody gives a hug like a grandma, and these elephants know it. The reason these massive animals are lining up to give this old lady hugs is one of the most touching stories you're ever going to hear. Let me just start by saying this is no ordinary old lady. Her name is Dr. Dame Daphne Sheldrick, and since 1977 she's dedicated her life to the preservation and protection of elephants. She was born on a large farm in Kenya. When Daphne was just 6 years old, she visited a natural reserve and saw how incredibly majestic the animals were. From that day, she decided that she wanted to spend her future living among animals. However, her special relationship with elephants wouldn't start until decades later, when Daphne and her husband David Sheldrick became warden and co-warden of a nature reserve. Together, they saved and cared for many animals and reintroduced them to the wild. However, after David's passing, she almost gave up on her dream. That is until a newly orphaned baby elephant was brought into her reserve. The elephant had just lost its entire family and was struggling to survive. Daphne simply couldn't abandon the poor elephant, and so she continued her work at the reserve. Over the years, Daphne became popular for her work and became a popular figure advocating for a total global ban on the trade of ivory. After all, the brutal trade was a major reason for all the orphaned elephants and rhinos she was taking care of. As the years went by, more elephants were killed and more orphaned babies were left defenseless. But Daphne did everything she could to save as many as possible. She took care of these elephants like they were her own children. Each elephant was assigned a handler to constantly look after them. They were given blankets, rain jackets, and she even rubbed sunscreen on the little babies. Daphne was such a good caretaker, one elephant got so attached to her that it refused to eat anything and almost killed itself from grief. Honestly, it's no surprise. Throughout her life, Daphne worked tirelessly with these gentle beasts. Perhaps her most striking accomplishment is how she managed to reverse the trend of baby-dependent elephants dying from a lack of access to food when they lose their parents from poaching. The fact of the matter is, oftentimes these orphaned elephants were brought to the sanctuary, traumatized and too young to feed on anything but their mother's milk. And despite Daphne's or anyone's best efforts, they were doomed to grow increasingly malnourished. This was the fate of a little elephant named Amber. She was rescued after her parents were killed by poachers and brought to Daphne for help. Despite the gallons of milk Amber was fed, she remained malnourished and ultimately passed away. Daphne decided she would do everything possible to ensure that would never happen again. So she spent the next 28 years researching and devising a milk formula that could serve as a nutritious substitute for baby elephants. Eventually, she came across a milk formula from Europe that contained coconut milk. That was the breakthrough she needed, as coconut milk was the closest substitute for the fat in elephant milk. And lucky for her and her elephants, there was plenty of coconut milk around. After years of successfully saving lives and raising these infant elephants to adulthood, her colleagues began to affectionately call her Mama Elephant. Of course, these elephants reciprocated the love that she showed them. Even after being released back into the wild, they would stop by to give Daphne some much-deserved hugs. Daphne spent her whole life dedicated to taking care of these majestic animals, and at the ripe old age of 83, she passed away. However, her mark on this earth persists. She saved the lives of multiple animals and played a pivotal role in the international fight against the trade of ivory. Her work is being carried on by her daughters. Dame Daphne Sheldrick will always be Mama Elephant.